Several times celebrities said some really messed up stuff that just flew under the radar. One, Paris Hilton has a long history of using slurs, many of which were exposed in 2007, after many of Paris's personal belongings from a storage unit were revealed. In one video, dancing with her sister Nicky Hilton to a song by the Notorious B.I.G, Paris said, "We're like two N-word." She also used the f-slur and made anti-Semitic comments. Her publicist released a statement saying, "I'm not going to make any attempt to spin this. It happened. I'm not going to deny it happened. Each of us has used words we have regretted later. This was 6 years ago. She was 20 at the time. It was New Year's Eve. She had been obviously drinking. She sincerely regrets using those words. She is not a racist or an anti-Semite." 2. Blake Lively gave an interview in 2008 where she joked about looking like a tranny. Here's the quote, "People think I'm goofy. I don't have that whole Angelina Jolie air to me. I wish that I did, and that's an insecurity of mine. Some days I wake up and I'm like, oh, I look good today. And some days I wake up and feel like I look like a tranny." 3. Megan Fox has had several infamous interview quotes over the years, particularly her comparison of Transformers director Michael Bay to Hitler. But I feel like we forget the other quotes from that same 2009 Wonderland interview. In one, she basically called Elizabeth Taylor a schizoid, saying, "I do have a fear of ending up like Elizabeth Taylor, in the sense that I will have been married 8 times, and this senile, insane, borderline personality schizoid when I'm 80, still drawing on my eyebrows." 4. Fox also said in another interview, "I would never date a girl who was bisexual, because that means they also sleep with men, and men are so dirty that I'd never want to sleep with a girl who had slept with a man." 5. John Mayer is no stranger to controversy, but perhaps one of his most controversial interviews that often gets forgotten today is the 2010 interview where he used the N-word and called his penis a white supremacist. When the interviewer asked, "Do black women throw themselves at you?" Mayer replied, "I don't think I open myself to it. My dick is sort of like a white supremacist. I've got a Benetton heart and a fucking David Duke cock. I'm going to start dating separately from my dick." The N-word was used in relation to Mayer saying he had a hood pass. He later apologized for using the term, writing using the N-word in an interview, "I am sorry that I used the word. And it's a shame that I did because the point I was trying to make was the exact opposite spirit of the word itself. It was arrogant of me to think I could intellectualize using it, because I realized there's no intellectualizing a word that is so emotionally charged." 6. British comedian Zoe Lyons made a really awful joke about Amy Winehouse back in 2008. "I can't believe Amy Winehouse self-harms. She's so irritating she must be able to find someone to do it for her." The joke actually won at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. Lyons later said, "I know self-harming is not funny, but it's just a joke, so I'm not going to beat myself up about it." 7. An attendee of one of Tracy Morgan's stand-up shows in 2011 claimed that Morgan had gone on a rant against gay people, saying being gay was a choice, and that anti-gay bullying was insignificant and not worth complaining about. Most horrifically, the attendee claimed Morgan said that if his son were gay, he better come home and talk to him like a man, and not he mimicked a gay high-pitched voice, or he would pull out a knife and stab that little N, one word I refuse to use, to death. Tracy then said he didn't f-king care if he pissed off some gays, because if they can take a f-king decack up their they can take a f-king joke. While Morgan did not confirm nor deny his exact words and jokes, and there is no video of the event, he did acknowledge he had made offensive comments and apologized. "I want to apologize to my fans and the gay and lesbian community for my choice of words at my recent stand-up act in Nashville. I'm not a hateful person and don't condone any kind of violence against others. While I am an equal opportunity jokester, and my friends know what is in my heart, even in a comedy club this clearly went too far and was not funny in any context." 8. Another Tracy Morgan comment from 2011 was, "Let me tell you something about Sarah Palin. She's good masturbation material." TNT, the network Morgan was speaking on when he made the remark, issued a statement saying, It's unfortunate Mr. Morgan showed a lack of judgment on our air with his inappropriate comments. We apologize for any embarrassment or offense it may have caused. 9. Kevin Hart similarly spoke in 2010 about what he would do if his son was gay in a stand-up routine, revealing that another boy was grinding on his son at a birthday party, and he knocked them both down. And when he was reprimanded, he said, "You show me another kid getting fucked in the ass, and I'll calm down." In 2015, Hart claimed the joke was about his own insecurities as a parent, said that he wasn't anti-gay, and added that he wouldn't tell that joke today, but back then, the times weren't as sensitive as they are now. 10. He also tweeted in 2011 about how he would call his son gay if he tried to play with a dollhouse, as well as break it over his son's head, along with a few other tweets that made light of gay people and issues. When these jokes resurfaced in the wake of Hart being tapped to host the Oscars, he dropped out, deleting some of the tweets and saying he didn't want to apologize, as he had already addressed this several times. However, he later did apologize, tweeting, "I'm sorry that I hurt people. I am evolving and want to continue to do so. My goal is to bring people together, not tear us apart. Much love and appreciation to the Academy. I hope we can meet again." 11. One more tweet. In 2013, Steve Martin tweeted, asking fans to send in grammar questions. "Is this how you spell Lasonia?" someone asked. And Martin replied, "It depends. Are you in an African-American neighborhood or at an Italian restaurant?" While the joke was initially understood by many as being a dig at the spelling ability of those in black neighborhoods, Martin later clarified and said that he was referring to Lasonia as a person's name. "I knew of the name Lasonia. I did not make it up, nor do I find it funny. So to me the answer was either Lasonia, with a capital, or lasagna, depending on what you meant. That they sounded alike in this rare and particular context struck me as funny. That was the joke," he wrote after apologizing. When the tweet went out, I saw some negative comments and immediately deleted the tweet and apologized. I gathered the perception was that I was making fun of African-American names. 12. In 2008, Madonna indirectly called her soon-to-be ex-husband Guy Ritchie emotionally retarded at a concert when she said, "This song is for the emotionally retarded. Maybe you know some people who fall in that category. I know I do." 13. In 2009, after the divorce was finalized, Ritchie said of Madonna, "I still love her, but she's retarded too." 14. Madonna has made a number of other problematic comments, including fat-phobic comments about obsessive fans. "It's always fat people too," she says of these types of fans. "They are the most unattractive social outcasts, like really overweight girls or guys with lots of acne that follow me around and pester me. It's frightening because not only are they bothering me, but they're horrible to look at too." 15. She's also made remarks disparaging black men. She once told Spin magazine, "I've always in this naive way identified with other minorities because I'm in a minority. You think that somehow unifies you in some philosophical way, but ultimately it doesn't, because I've found that being a strong female is actually more frightening to the black men that I've dated. It took me a really long time to accept that. I believe that I have never been treated more disrespectfully as a woman than by the black men that I've dated. I've never actually said that to anybody, but it's true, and I think it's a cultural thing." She continued to say it wouldn't be the same if she was a black woman. "I think black men have just been shit on for so long that, in a way, black women are maybe more willing to accept rage from a black man because they see what's happened to them. So many black men grow up without fathers, without strong male figures, without a sense of romance and seeing a man treat a woman with respect." 16. More recently, in 2015, she talked about how women are still the most marginalized group and that it's moved along for the gay community, for the African-American community, but women are still just trading on their ass. Also in 2015, she said that ageism is still the one area where you can totally discriminate against somebody and talk shit because of their age. Only females, though, not males. So in that respect, we still live in a very sexist society. No one would dare to say a degrading remark about being black or dare to say a degrading remark on Instagram about someone being gay, but my age, anybody and everybody would say something degrading to me. 17. Borat was all the rage back in 2005, leading MTV to tap Sacha Baron Cohen to host the Europe Music Awards in character. This led to a bunch of wild quotes from Cohen, calling the Pussycat Dolls International singing prostitutes. He also offered to sell a baby to Madonna, saying, "My only concern is that this singing transvestite will not be such a good father," at another point calling her a genuine transvestite. 18. Olivia Munn has made some fat-phobic comments, including writing in her 2010 memoir, "I will fix America's obesity problems by taking all motorized transport away from fat people. In turn, I will build an infrastructure of fat tunnels, where all the fat people can walk. This will create jobs and subsequent weight loss." 19. Also in 2010, Munn joked, "See, I date different guys of different religions and races, so I can always make the joke. I date the blacks, I date the Mexicans, I date them all for comedy. You can't buy that kind of gold. Having sex with a guy once is worth it." 20. Chelsea Handler has made a number of racist digs at Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's children, including, after the divorce, "I wonder why Pitt needed to self-medicate. Maybe because he could have been spending the last 12 years at Lake Como hanging out with George Clooney and Matt Damon instead of being stuck in a house with 85 kids speaking 15 different languages. Oh yeah, because he married a F***ing lunatic. That's why." 21. She also tweeted, "Angelina Jolie has filed for divorce from Brad Pitt. He wants the China. She wants Pax and Maddox. # sorry, couldn't help myself." Pax and Maddox were adopted from Vietnam and Cambodia, respectively. 22. In her book, "Are You There, Vodka? It's me, Chelsea," she wrote of Maddox. "I rolled over and picked an Us Weekly magazine off the floor. The cover had a picture of Angelina, Brad, and their little Eskimo son, Maddox. I sat staring at the photo, wondering why this little guy looks so pissed off in every picture. At first I thought he was just pissed about his mohawk, but then I realized he's probably furious. Maddox must have thought he hit the jackpot when some A-list celebrity rescued him from third world Cambodia, only to discover that she was going to shuffle him back and forth to every other third world country in the universe. He's probably like, 'When the fuck are we going to get to Malibu, bitch?'" 23. Handler had actually made this joke before, while making a racist remark about Madonna's adopted child. In 2006, when Handler was asked about reports Madonna had adopted a 1-year-old from Africa, her son David, she replied, "You know, actually the important thing to remember, Joe, is that the baby, technically, whether she raises it in London or the States, technically the baby is African American. So my question would be, do you think he'll talk loud in movie theaters?" She then added, "I really hope this baby doesn't turn out like Angelina Jolie's, and Brad Pitt's little Eskimo Maddox," and then telling the same joke about Maddox and Malibu. 24. Handler also was accused of racism concerning her book about her trip to Africa, Uganda. Be kidding me. In the comedy adaptations of the book, she said, "Wouldn't it be funny if I went to Uganda? I've always wanted to know where rappers come from." She had previously used a tweet congratulating Lupita Nyong'o on her Oscar win for 12 Years a Slave to promote the book, with no apparent connection besides Lupita's African heritage, which, by the way, is not Ugandan. Speaking of Nyong'o, during the same Oscars ceremony, she also joked that Angelina Jolie was filing papers to adopt Nyong'o. Handler ended her series of Oscars tweets, which were made via the Huffington Post Twitter account, with "I'm sorry." Huffington Post later stated, "The views expressed by Handler are not ours." The Huffington Post occasionally has celebrities take over our Twitter handle, including Bill Maher during the State of the Union. When Handler was asked about the comments on Good Morning America, she said, "Well, people are always upset with me about something. I don't take it personally. I said at the end, I'm sorry for just being me." 25. She's also made anti-trans comments. She wrote in her book, Chelsea Chelsea Bang Bang, "I would rather sit next to a transgender person and discuss why every single one I've met smells like a bar in the daytime than listen to people tell me why I want to have children and that I just don't know it yet." This random dig about trans people was not even relevant in the context of the story she was telling. Handler also misgendered and joked about Chaz Bono. When asked in 2021 about how Handler reflects on her past offensive comments, she said, "I mean, listen, there's an evolution with everybody. And the problem with a lot of these men that have been canceled is they're not sincerely apologizing, My therapy, my whole thing has been on public record. I'm not pretending or faking or saying, 'Oh, I'm sorry,' after the fact. I actually have had an evolution. I do want to be kinder and gentler. I want my jokes to not be reflective of a time in my life that I wasn't aware of how they impact people." Your words are powerful, especially someone like me, who has a very big mouth. People that do that, you can forgive them. You do understand that Chrissy Teigen's situation. She admitted her bad behavior. She said, "I'm really sorry." And that's what we should all be doing when confronted with anything we've done, is say, "I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me know. I'm going to do better." Period. End of story. 26. Back in 2003, there was a feud between Kelly Osbourne and Christina Aguilera, with Osbourne saying of Aguilera, "She's one of the most disgusting human beings in the world," and "I've seen drag queens who look better," as well as calling her a cow. 27. Later, in 2011, Osbourne spoke about Aguilera gaining weight. "Maybe she is just becoming the fat bitch she was born to be. I don't know. She was a C*T to me. She called me fat for so many F***ing years. So you know what? F***KU, you're fat too." Osbourne later said of her comments, which were made on the show Fashion Police, "I didn't say I wasn't fat. I said now you know how it feels. And I'm sorry, but I stand by that. I make a point on the show never to say anything about anybody that I wouldn't say directly to their face. I'm famous, and she's famous. It doesn't mean I can't stand up for myself. I took it for 10 years and finally decided to be like, you know what? I'm done. And that's the last thing I will ever say about it." 28. And finally, in 2012, Emily Blunt made a fat-phobic comment she has since apologized for after the clip resurfaced. In the clip, she told a story on the Jonathan Ross show about going to Chili's while filming Looper in the US. Ross, the host, joked about Americans being enormous, and Blunt laughed and replied, "Well, the girl who was serving me was enormous." Blunt apologized when the clip resurfaced in 2023, saying, "I just need to address this head-on, as my jaw was on the floor watching this clip from 12 years ago. I'm appalled that I would say something so insensitive, hurtful, and unrelated to whatever story I was trying to tell on a talk show. I've always considered myself someone who wouldn't dream of upsetting anyone, so whatever possessed me to say anything like this in that moment is unrecognizable to me, or anything I stand for. And yet it happened, and I said it, and I'm so sorry for any hurt caused. I was absolutely old enough to know better."